May 29, 2000. Harry Markopoulos walks out of a federal building in Boston. Under his arm is a 17-page document he just handed to the Securities and Exchange Commission. The title, "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud." It took him 4 hours to write. 4 hours because the math was that obvious. The SEC reviews the report, contacts the fund. The fund provides documents. The SEC finds nothing conclusive. They close the file. Bernie Madoff goes back to work. He will go back to work for 8 more years. In those 8 years, Markopoulos submits 3 more reports. The SEC investigates Madoff 5 more times. And $65 billion in money that does not exist accumulates in accounts belonging to 40,000 people across 136 countries. 40,000 people who have no idea. This is the story of the largest financial fraud in recorded history. Not the most violent, not the most sophisticated, the most patient. 50 years. 1 lie, 1 desk, and a warning that went ignored for nearly a decade. It is 1960. Bernie Madoff is 22 years old, working out of a single rented office in Midtown Manhattan. No family connections on Wall Street, no prestigious degree. The son of a plumber from Queens. He saves $5,000 from working summers as a lifeguard and installing garden sprinkler systems. With that $5,000, he founds Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities. His legitimate business is straightforward, matching buyers and sellers of stocks, taking a small cut. Unglamorous, but functional. Then, quietly on the side, he starts something else. An investment advisory firm. Clients give him money. He promises steady, reliable returns. His first clients are Jewish families from Queens who know his father-in-law. People who trust him before they understand what they are trusting him with. The returns are good, then very good, then something the financial world has no clean explanation for. In real markets, losing money is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. Warren Buffett has losing years. George Soros has losing years. Peter Lynch has losing years. Volatility is the nature of markets. Anyone telling you otherwise is either lying or hasn't been doing this long enough. Bernie Madoff's fund had no losing periods, month after month, year after year, around 10 to 12% annually. No crashes during bad markets, no spikes during good ones. October 1987, Black Monday, markets fall 22% in a single day. Madoff's clients lose nothing. The dot-com bubble bursts, trillions erased globally over 18 months. Madoff's clients lose nothing. September 2001, markets freefall. Madoff's clients lose nothing. Every time the financial world collapsed around them, his investors came through untouched. This should have been the loudest possible alarm. Instead, it became the reason people trusted him more, because stability feels like genius. And when someone appears to have found a way to protect you from what everyone else fears, you stop asking questions. There were no investments. Not real ones. Money from new investors paid the returns promised to existing investors. That was the entire mechanism. No strategy, no genius, no system. Just new money in to cover old promises out. It is called a Ponzi scheme, named after Charles Ponzi, a Boston con man who ran an identical operation in 1920. The mathematics are simple and fatal. It only works as long as more money enters than leaves. The moment that balance inverts, the structure collapses. Madoff understood this from the beginning. He ran the fraud on the 17th floor of the Lipstick Building on 3rd Avenue in Manhattan. The legitimate business ran on the 19th floor. A small trusted team on the 17th floor did one thing: generate fabricated statements, invent fictional trades, produce false documentation for regulators. Most employees on the 19th floor did not know the 17th floor existed. Eleanor Squillari sat outside his office for 25 years, managed his schedule, handled his correspondence, answered his calls. She later told journalists she had no idea. 25 years, same desk, same suit, same calm. By the 1980s, Madoff had stopped accepting everyone. He became selective, then exclusive, then nearly impossible to access without the right introduction. You could not walk in and give him money. You had to be vouched for, introduced, invited. This was not accidental. It was the most psychologically powerful tool in the operation. Exclusivity creates desire, and desire suspends skepticism. Tell someone a fund is open to anyone. They might scrutinize it. Tell someone this fund is almost impossible to get into and that you are being offered access as a rare personal favor. They stop scrutinizing and start feeling grateful. People competed to get in, called in decades of favors, leveraged the deepest friendships they had. Steven Spielberg, Kevin Bacon, and Kira Sedgwick, who lost most of their savings. Elie Wiesel, Holocaust survivor, Nobel Peace Prize laureate, who lost his entire life savings and the complete financial reserves of his charitable foundation. Major universities, pension funds, charities across the United States and Europe. None of them asked the right questions, not because they were foolish, because the scheme was specifically designed to make asking questions feel unnecessary, slightly rude, and vaguely ungrateful. You were lucky to be inside. Lucky people do not interrogate their luck. Harry Markopolos is asked by his employer in 1999 to reverse engineer Madoff's strategy, figure out how he generates such consistent returns, replicate it. He sits down with the numbers. It takes him 4 hours. The returns Madoff reports cannot be produced by the strategy he claims to use. The options market he says he operates in is not large enough to accommodate the volume of trades his fund would require. He submits his report to the SEC in May 2000. The world's largest hedge fund is a fraud. The SEC contacts Madoff. Madoff provides documents. The SEC finds nothing conclusive, closes the file. Markopolos resubmits in 2001. Nothing. 2005. Nothing. 2007. Nothing. 6 formal SEC investigations over 17 years. 6 times Madoff walks away, goes back to his desk, picks up the phone. The SEC's own post-arrest investigation later finds its investigators lacked the mathematical ability to understand what Markopolos was showing them, that they were intimidated by his reputation, that he was a former NASDAQ chairman, and nobody wanted to accuse someone like that without being completely certain. They were never certain. 40,000 people paid the price for it. September 2008. Lehman Brothers collapses. Markets fall with a speed that makes everything stable feel suddenly fragile. Banks that existed for a century fail in days. Investors everywhere need to see that what they believe they have is actually there. In November 2008, Madoff receives withdrawal requests totaling $7 billion. He has approximately $200 to $300 million in liquid assets available. The gap between paper and reality has always been there. For 50 years, he managed it, papered over it with new money coming in. Now the new money has stopped. The old money is leaving simultaneously. For the first time in 50 years, the money going out is greater than the money coming in. And Madoff understands, with the same clarity Markopolos understood 8 years earlier, that everything that comes next is inevitable. December 9, 2008. Madoff calls his sons, Mark and Andrew, to his penthouse on the Upper East Side. He tells them he needs to talk about the business. Then he tells them everything: the fabricated returns, the fake statements, the 17th floor, the $7 billion he cannot meet, the 50 years. He tells them the investment advisory business is, in his own words, one big lie. His sons sit in silence. Then they leave. They call a lawyer. The lawyer calls the FBI. December 10, 2008, 6:30 a.m. 2 federal agents knock on the door of his penthouse. One asks if there is an innocent explanation for what his sons have reported. Madoff looks at them. Then he says no. He says it quietly, without hesitation, without visible emotion, the way a man speaks when he has been carrying something impossibly heavy for so long that putting it down feels less like collapse and more like the end of an exhausting shift. There is no innocent explanation. He is placed under arrest. Behind him, through the penthouse windows, Manhattan is just beginning to wake up. In a few hours, 40,000 people will begin to understand that the money they believed they had does not exist. 40,000 victims, 136 countries, $64.8 billion in fabricated balances, $17 billion in actual cash losses. Elie Wiesel, who survived Auschwitz and devoted his life to bearing witness, lost his entire personal savings and the complete reserves of his charitable foundation. He said what Madoff did was not theft. It was something worse, a wound to the idea that trust between people is possible at all. Thousands of retirees discovered that the savings of entire working lives had simply vanished. Schools lost funding. Hospitals lost donations. A French money manager who had placed $1.4 billion of his clients' money with Madoff later died by suicide after the fraud was exposed. These are not statistics. These are people who went to sleep believing their lives were stable and woke up to find they were not. The most personal damage arrived exactly 2 years after the arrest. Mark Madoff, Bernie's eldest son, the one who called the lawyer, the one whose call had ended it, never recovered. He had known nothing. Investigators found no evidence to the contrary. He was never charged. But knowing nothing and being believed are entirely different things. His surname was Madoff. In the public mind, that was sufficient. He lost friends, lost his career, changed his children's surnames so they would not carry the name into their schools. On December 11, 2010, exactly 2 years to the day after his father's arrest, Mark Madoff died by suicide. Bernie Madoff was in federal prison when he received the news. He could not attend the funeral. He never spoke publicly about his son's death in any meaningful way. June 29, 2009, Manhattan federal courtroom, 11 federal felony counts, no trial, no defense, just admission. Before sentencing, victims speak. A woman tells the court she is 67 years old, worked 40 years. Every dollar she saved went to Madoff. She has nothing. Judge Denny Chin sentences him to 150 years, the maximum possible. He calls Madoff's crimes extraordinarily evil. Madoff is 71 years old. Everyone in the courtroom understands he will never leave prison. He dies there on April 14, 2021, aged 82. His wife Ruth later admits that after the arrest they discussed ending their lives together and took pills, but both survived. Harry Markopoulos receives no formal recognition from the SEC for his work. He writes a book. He calls it No One Would Listen. A court-appointed trustee spends years pursuing Madoff's assets. By 2023, he recovers $14.7 billion for victims. Remarkable. Still billions short. The 17th floor of the Lipstick Building is now occupied by ordinary office tenants. No plaque, no marker, nothing.